Hello, and welcome back to the definitive Starship review series without access to a proper table. You know, when you remove my computer complex and all my personal possessions from this table, I have to admit it does look pretty proper, but hear me out, because for one, it wobbles. Okay. It actually doesn't quite wobble as much as I remember. Mostly everything around the table wobbled as I vigorously shook it. But two, it's the same table, so it still counts as not a proper table. Where today we're going to be looking at, check notes, the Romulan Flagship, issue 8 of the Universe Collection. I think a lot of the marketing calls this O's Flagship, which is, certainly a model people are talking about. Before we get into the model, though, God, I feel like I have to zoom the camera in for this one. I do have to say that I am part of the Eaglemoss affiliate program, which means if you choose to purchase this model because of this video, there is a link in the description. That is an affiliate link, meaning I will get a 7% commission on the sale of the model. I am allowed to say whatever the heck I want about these ships, as I think I will prove over the course of this video. Whoops. But there is a monetary incentive for me to tell you to go buy these ships, so bear that in mind as you listen to my reviews. So yes, this is the part of the video where I would normally say, let's get into the size comparisons. Also, can we just address this ship flies backwards? I keep holding it like this. I first put it on my stand like this, but no, this is the bridge up front, and come on, this is a bird. This is a backwards bird. This ship flies backwards. Okay, but now this is the part where I would normally say, let's get into the size comparisons. But this is a very small model. Here we go. You can compare it to the stand. At least it's bigger than the stand. I don't have many of my models unboxed. They're still packed away as I'm temporarily home from college. But here's the Pterodax from, of course, the normal 180, the normal sized Pterodax, which you can see this model is it actually shorter than? Yes, it is shorter than the standard Pterodax. Wider than the standard Pterodax, yes, but not by much. Let's get out another friend of the channel, the Valdor, which is always my is this model too small measurement. It is longer than the Valdor, but not quite as wide, perhaps just as wide as the Valdor. I'm gonna go ahead and call that a tie, but it is definitely longer than the Valdor, yes. Although you might notice that it's not looking out of place next to these standard size models. You want another one? Here's an Enterprise, technically the Cage Enterprise, as I just got, and yeah, I mean, that's about, you know, the same size. These are both standard size models, even though this is part of the Universe Collection. Shall we rub salt in the wound? Here's a shuttle. I think the executive shuttle from the second shuttle pack. Yep, just check the name. Which is not too much smaller. And you might be going, well, Nathan, you just picked the largest shuttle that you own. Well, no, I didn't. Here's Shuttle Pod 1, which is larger than the executive shuttle pod, and this is less than $25. You also get it comes in the pack, so, you know, about $25 per ship, but you also get the little card for it. As part of the Universe Collection, I paid $54.90 for this in the subscription. I think they're more expensive on the web shop now. They might be $65. This is like 3 times the price of this. In fact, looking at it here, you can buy this, and this for what? Not on sale. Like $66 probably, and that's about the price that this would cost you off the web store. Why is it so small? Normally you might say it's a wingspan issue. You know, if you scale this up, it won't fit in their boxes, right? Well, here's the standard Eaglemoss box, and well, looks like this fits in a standard Eagle size box, so I guess there's room to scale it up. That is just, look, it fits. Could you fit the stand in here as well? Okay, I'll grant them you can't fit the stand, but, like, this fits in the standard size box. Here's, of course, the box it came in, and these are kind of standard size. I don't actually know. I don't have those boxes at hand, but they're pretty close. And, yeah, you can see they definitely, needed that space. They couldn't scale this up whatsoever. Turn it 90 degrees, make it bigger. Like half that box is empty space. Now, I will give Eaglemoss credit in that while this is a small model, it is almost entirely metal. You see this rim here going around this top section. This top section is a plastic. Everything else, top and bottom, even this bit, as far as I can tell, everything else is metal. Die cast, it clings. There you go. So they've definitely put money into the smaller model, but I don't really understand why it's so small. I know some people really care about the quality, the material quality of the model, and so potentially that'll sway some people back. But for me, this is a big ship in this show. The Romulan flagship. It's quite big. Not like Daredak's big, of course. Nothing is Daredak's big, but it goes toe to toe with the Zhang He, which is a big ship. And so it's not like the others, like the Bird of Prey, for example, where you don't get much more detail if you make it bigger. This one you could have gotten more out of. It's very nicely detailed for what it is. I think from this point on, I'm going to start reviewing the detail and stuff. We've acknowledged the size, I feel, so I'm now going to review the model as it is, and I'm going to be very positive, because this is a very well-made model. If this was part of the original 180, it'd probably be one of the best, honestly. Like, it's a fantastic model. It's just about like 2 or 3 times smaller than it should be for the price range, and that's important to acknowledge, but it is a fantastically made model. So here's the part now where I'm gonna praise it, and if the size put you off, then you're already gone. So for everyone else, yes, as you can see, it's very intricate with a lot of panel working on all the wings, weathering with the green, and then kind of almost a rusted copper look, more of a blue. And you've got loads of various shades on this spine. You've got some yellows, golds. It's got a reflectiveness on the gold paint that's not so much there on the gray, but it really kind of helps bring out, make it look interesting, and it looks metallic. As I said, this ship is metal, but it really looks it. Normally on the Eaglemoss models, there's not much different between the plastic and metal bits in the way it looks, but this one definitely has that. It looks like a well-made, sturdy model. On the underside, it's much the same as the top, with a lot of the panel working, and then a lot of detail on the spine. Kind of reminds me of the Dremor stuff from Skyrim, actually, if you ever played that. Just the way it's got that old, coppery look. On the tail, you've got a feather-like, very feather-like underside, and of course, like all the Romulan shows, Romulan ships in Picard especially, very bird-like. And I quite like, as much as I said they fly this backwards, from the front, that's a really aggressive looking silhouette I quite like. And it's definitely, I recognize it from the show. Picard wasn't great at showing us the ships, and so I don't quite recognize this, but I very much recognize this. It is a bit odd to have the yellow Romulan ship. Like, in the show, knowing that this is the color that it is, you can kind of see it in some scenes, but it really doesn't look like it. I'm not sure if I would recognize this as Romulan. Well, here we go. If this actually was part of the 180, I would kind of have a lineage thing, and then I'd have a lot of the other green ships going back the other way. And this doesn't really, and this doesn't really trigger as Romulan to me. It might be Romulan Free State. I know it's O's ship, but it might be a Free State design, so maybe that's why. I mean, that's quite an aggressive Free State design. It's almost like a helmet. There we go, if you can see it there. Yeah, it's almost got like some sort of helmet, evil visor, Terminator thing going on. But it's a very nice look. But yeah, I think it looks nice as a ship, and again, why doesn't it fly this way? Like, I haven't read the magazine. I would not be surprised if it's kind of like the Sona ship, someone turned a paper backwards or something at some point in the design process, because like the arrows, I don't know, I feel like this should be the head and that's the tail. But yeah, as a general ship, I think the coloring works. It just doesn't scream Romulan to me. That does, but Something about the way how it flies backwards just feels odd. Like this, with this being the front, this feels a lot more Romulan to me than this. I think it's maybe the beak as opposed to the helmet look that does it. I know I've said before I really love all the Picard Romulan ships. Not as much this one. I think this silhouette will save me for it a lot. This is definitely like an eye level ship. Even though the detailing on the top and bottom is stunning. Like I think that's where the money went. Wouldn't be surprised if this was a ship that they kind of experimented or maybe pitched more towards those people who really want the metal or perhaps like a lot of fine detailing, and so that's where the money went as opposed to the actual material cost in making a bigger ship. But also, if you've been complaining about space and you really like this model, I mean, yeah, it's expensive. For its size, you'll have to find it worth it. But it's definitely a very well made model. And I haven't really done many scans of the ship because it's so small. You kind of just do see it. Everything is there. You got a little bit of red engine detail. But really, if you came here to know how big it is, it's a standard size model. Technically, I suppose it's slightly bigger, just in terms of like pure volume or something. But it really, you wouldn't notice it in standard size. The only reason you'd notice it is probably because of how metal it is. It would stand out from that alone in its shine. However, if you can throw the money around, if you don't really care, it's an incredibly well made model. Everything feels right. It's all metal, extremely high quality. The price is always weird for me. For one, it's part of the subscription, but also as I do these reviews, it's like sort of a almost a business expense. The cost is always a bit weird for me to review when I'm like, oh well, I'll do these videos. I gotta get it anyway. But yeah, it's a very small, very well made model. Certainly an interesting one, but as part of the universe class, it's just kind of disappointing to see one so small and without any real reason for it to be that small. Yeah, the reason is the die casting, I'm sure, just the materials quality, the detail work. But could you not have maybe the whole central bit be plastic, and then the metal rings, or maybe even the other way around to get it two, maybe even three times as big? I know that probably scales a bit quicker than I think, but it's just a bit too small for me. But hey, for the right person, it might be worth it. I'm totally not looking up one of my old reviews because I've forgotten what my outro is. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any more questions about this model, just ask me in the description. I'll do my best to answer them. If you want me to review a specific model, just ask. I've got a little over half the collection, all of the collections, and all the Discovery collection, in fact. So just let me know and I'll get to it as soon as I can. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. What they said.